Mike's Daily Podcast.
Let me introduce you to my friend Fire. Lots of fire these days. It's FF episode 1929. I'm Mike Matthews.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Welcome to the show. It's been a couple of days that I haven't done this podcast, and I have to tell you what happened. I had myself an interesting time on this weekend. I went to Marin County, and then I found out there's no power for you, my friend, in Marin, because they just cut that stuff right off because of PG&E.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Because of fire. Everywhere you look, there's fire. Fuego.
Mike's
So you gotta look out.
Daily
In
Podcast.
California,
Yeah!
it's so bad my mom called me from Florida, where I was calling her all worried about hurricanes. She's calling me now all worried about the fire. So, it's been in Podcastro Valley pretty calm, except for all the wind last night. Oh, and the power went out in like some neighborhoods nearby. But thankfully not at Cafe Anyway, the last place on earth. Episode 1929. My lovely lady friend and I had planned a couple weeks back to have an Airbnb time on a Saturday night up in Marin. We were going to go to San Anselmo because that's the cheapest place we could find on Airbnb close to Point Reyes. And that's my best R rolling. You're welcome. And so we go up there. Everything's fine. Power's on. Then as soon as we're crossing the Richmond Bridge, we get this alert on both of our cell phones saying, turn around, get the hell out of here. No, it basically says power's going to be cut to about 90% of the customers, PG&E's customers, due to historic dangerous winds coming up very soon. And we're like, yeah, right, whatever. That's not going to happen.
And here's today's podcast picture.
Oh, it happened. But thankfully, we had a little bit of a grace period because first, Basil, the boxer, and my lovely lady friend and I got to go to Fairfax. I've never been to Fairfax. It's this little town up in the mountains, kind of up right before you start going over the pass to get over to Point Reyes. And there's all these redwoods and up in there. And we talked to a guy named Jimmy who owns a cannabis shop. And he invited us over. But the reason why we met him, though, was because we were at this restaurant, this Italian restaurant in Fairfax. Basil he had to wait in the car. He was very upset. He protested a little bit. I want to go inside and eat the meatballs. Why won't you let me go inside and eat the meatballs? I want to go inside and eat the meatballs. Why meatballs? So, what happened was my lovely lady friend and I went in there into the Italian restaurant. We sat down, and a guy came out with a big mustache, and he goes, "When the moon hits your eye like a big piece of pie," that's a stereotypical Italian. And hey, welcome to my restaurant. Hey, and that's my Italian impression. It's bad. No good. No buono. Whatever. But hey, to my Italian friends, I would like you to be on this podcast again real soon so you can do all your Italian-y stuff. But right now, I'm going to be all my stupid-y Mikey stuff and say it was a wonderful time because we sat down and this guy came up, this old guy, but fit as a fiddle. And he goes, "Hey, we got this. We got a lot of this and of that, and let me get you get you a menu." And then my lovely lady friend says, "I would like to have the rosemary chicken," and I say, "I'll have the spaghetti meatballs because I'm stupid and white and not that Italian minded." And we got some garlic bread, and he goes, "Okay, we come right back and bring you that stuff." And so he leaves. Lights go out, power goes out right after we ordered. And everybody's clapping, yay! And the restaurant's pretty full. It sounds kind of like what it is a cafe anyway. So always it sounds like. It's got a lot of people in here because of the Italian restaurante. So then he comes back over. God, I wish I remembered the guy's name. And he this time he's got a smaller menu. It's one sheet. and it says lights out menu on it. And he goes, I'm sorry, you didn't make it in time. You lose. No, you get to pick from this menu. Well, guess what? What I wanted was on that menu, so I didn't give a crap. But my lovely lady friend, she couldn't get the rosemary chicken. So she went and got the meatballs with the Neiman Ranch beef. Delicioso. It was so good. De buono. I don't know if that's Italian. So she then... the owner of the restaurant's illuminated now by some flashlights and the little candles on the tables, and it's so romantic, and we're having a romantic evening. And then the spaghetti comes to our table, and we start eating the noodles, the same noodle, and the noodle, gets smaller in distance between it, and then we kiss. Oh no, wait, that was Lady and the Tramp. Anyway, we had a great time. And then the owner shows up, and he puts the generator on, and little lights come on all over, these little kind of Christmassy lights. And hey, it's a back on. Everybody have a good time. And the people that sit across from us, the guy owns the local cannabis shop. And I go, you have a beautiful, those two redwood trees next to your shop are beautiful. He goes, oh yeah, there's a story about that. The town wanted to cut them down, but me and a bunch of my friends, we got together and made sure they didn't cut down the redwood trees. Yeah, because in Fairfax, there's a lot of hippies. And then his girlfriend, she's this blonde, and she's all like, I want to be a comedian. I'm funny. And she's like 60-something. I'm funny, and I'm 60, and I'm funny, and I'm going to do comedy. And you ever heard of that Billie Eilish? And I said, yeah, the girl that sings, so I'm a rough guy, baby, I'm a tough guy. That has the kind of the dancey beat thing going on. She goes, yeah, I don't like her. And I'm going to make fun of her when I'm doing my comedy act. I'm going to call myself Vanilla Eilish. And she's laughing. And of course, I'm not, because that didn't really strike me as funny, but whatever. Comedy is in the ear of the beholder. And I go, oh, okay. And she says, I don't really like to, in my comedy, I don't like to make fun of people. I'm not a Don Rickles type. And I thought, well, that kind of is hard for most people to do comedy without making fun of something. There's sort of the funny is the fun. You're making fun. It's a funny thing. But I guess she didn't want to do mean comedy, which I get. You don't, is it really that necessary? Because there's a tinge of negativity. But if you're turning it ever so ironically and making fun of the negativity in and of itself, then I like that comedy. Then that's a good one. I like it. So this lady was drunk. Oh, did I mention that part? Did I mention the fact that everybody was drinking red wine? And the guy makes his own red wine. The not the owner of the marijuana place, but the owner of the Italian restaurant makes his own wine. And I didn't have any, and neither did my lovely lady friend, which I'm very happy about, because driving back to the Airbnb we were staying at, the power's out. All the intersections you come to now are 4-way stops. Whereas before you may have had a green light and you could have gone through and woohoo. No, all of them you have to stop at. And the wind is blowing and leaves are flying around. And I thought to myself, wow, it would be extra dangerous if a deer was walking across the street right now. Suddenly there was a deer walking across the street. Well, actually, he was walking down the street, going the opposite direction on my side of the street. I hit the brakes. I slowed down because if you are an avid listener of this podcast, you know that about 4 years ago, I was driving down Mission Boulevard in Union City, a very populated area, but it is right up against the Garin Trail, Garin Park. And there is this just big, huge open space, and a deer was running down Mission Boulevard, running the same direction I was driving. So I just held back and didn't drive any faster than the deer. And people are starting to pass the deer. They're going right past them. I go, okay, so I'll swerve over and pass the deer. Well, somehow the deer had felt a kinship with me now. And when I start to pass him, he jumps across my hood. He's literally sitting on my window at one point. And I thought, oh, great. My car is totaled. And he gets off. He's making a ruckus. Those guys move so fast. And his hooves, they're just big bricks. Big trowels coming at you. And I'm thinking, oh, my car is totaled. And he runs the opposite side of the street. And he runs away. And I'm like, okay, I'm fine. So I keep driving. And he comes back and he almost hits me again. And then this time he runs up into the hills. So I'm a little leery of deer. By the way, I'm looking at my window after this happened, and there's all these, it looked like cracks, and I pulled over down the street. I'm huffing and puffing. My blood is pumping 80 billion gallons a second. And I'm looking at the window at all these little lines on my window. It turns out they were hairs, deer hair. And of all the, and I look at my hood, and there's all these lines on it. I'm thinking, oh, he gashed my hood with his hooves. Nope, it was just mud off of his hooves. It wiped right off. And then, but there was a dent. There were two little dents from when he hit the car, but they were minuscule. So I'm leery. I'm afraid of this deer coming down the street, and he went right past me, and he was fine. This deer on Saturday night, wow, had antlers, big old antlers. So the next day, so we go to bed at this Airbnb with the lights out, no power. Next morning, I wake up. Oh, at one point, and I've never stayed at this place before. It's an Airbnb, somebody's house, which, by the way, it was a room that was the lower level of a house. It had a kitchen, it had a bedroom and a living room, but the ceiling was, and I'm 6'1", was maybe 1 inch taller than me. And I got friends that are 6'5". They would not be able to function in this place. That would hurt their neck. So my lovely lady friend's a little shorter than me, so that worked out great for her. And of course, Basil, not that tall. Well, he is a tall boxer. But the ceiling's way above him. So everything was fine there. And then at one point in the middle of the night, I get up and I need to use the bathroom. I somehow made it from the bedroom to the bathroom, which was clear the heck on the other side of this unit, in the dark without stubbing my toe. And I congratulate myself for that, because that was just me going by memory of what the place looked like when we had gone there earlier in the day, when the lights were on, when the sun was out. So the power never came back on. The power never came back on throughout the rest of the day. We made coffee using a coffee maker by just using the filter and then pouring hot water into it. Yeah, there's a way to do it, and it worked out. Because they had gas. They had a gas stove in there, so that worked. Thank God for gas. Even though that's the G and the PG&E, but thank God for it. Or is it? Yeah. Pacific Gas and Electric. No, it's Pacific General Electric, Mike. Get it right. Stupid PG&E. Okay. Oh, the funniest thing my lovely lady friend said, we were listening to a local news station on the radio, and the host is, the anchor is talking to somebody up in Sonoma County and saying, they're getting a bunch of valuable information. It was interesting to listen to. But at one point he goes to the guest, do you think that now California is a third world country? And my lovely lady friend says, what kind of stupid white entitlement comment is that? California is far from a third world country. We have disasters now and then, but every state does. They either have snowstorms that bring everything to a standstill and actually kill people. Hurricanes kill people. All kinds of crazy weather events throughout the country kill people. And as long as we elect a Republican president again, there will be no climate change. Because they don't believe in it. And obviously that means if they don't believe in it, it doesn't exist. May I have a sip of this wonderful root beer? Thank you. Or was that a Matthews Chino? I can't remember or recall. Hey, let's say hi to some people here. And if you have any comments about any of this, you can call me 336MM Daily. That's 3 + 3 = 6. MM is in Mike Matthews Daily, as in what this podcast will try to be throughout this week. We took a day off, though, as you possibly noticed. Look who's here. Hello, Michael Master. It's Madame Rootabega, and you had a wonderful romantic time. Ooh. Yes, I did. It was a great time. Have you been on a romantic trip getaway like that? Yes. Did you ever go to Point Reyes Station? That's where I ended up. Yes. Did you go to the Cowboy Creamery and enjoy a bunch of their fattening cheeses and other things? No. Oh, well, I did not either, because we got there and the power was out, so no food, folks. Oh. But it was a wonderful time, and once we got back down to Berkeley and that area in the East Bay, there was power, y'all, and also a lot of smoke, and we're like, Lafayette fire and everything. Oh. And the station that I'm on Sundays, guess what? It was off the air for like 12 hours today because of the fires in Lafayette. So, but it's back on, everybody. Yeah, baby. The hardworking guys at KKDV. Okay, look who else is here. Hello, Dave, Mike. This is Valentino, the parking attendant. And this is Bison Bentley. Do you know that? Mike, we don't like fire. Yeah, fire. Do you know that? Yeah, I don't think many people do. I mean, unless you're making a barbecue, but which this smoky air makes me want to have a barbecue. That's how I'm like, I'm smelling it. I'm eating the air. I'm tasting the smoke in my mouth. It just needs a little delicious meat to go with it. Some barbecue sauce, a little hickory. Some sweetness and some hot and fire and smokiness. On top number one, get you what? Next show, it's going to be the wonderful Chely Shoehart, Floyd the Floorman, and John Deere, the engineer. 336MM Daily, let me know what you think of all this. And here's the lovely Ariel to take us out today with comments she's saying here with her mouth this way and that. Here she goes.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MikesDailyPodcast.com. Email Mike now at MikesDailyPodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye.
Oh, and the podcast picture is of Basil the Boxer and I. And this was taken at the amazing Oakland cemetery known as the Mountain View Cemetery, where Ghirardelli and Crocker and other people are buried that are of historical note. And you can see that picture now of the two of us. We took this, I think about a little over a week ago or so. See it at MikesDailyPodcast.com.